When it comes to crossovers, Capcom doesn't mess around.
Bird up.
Pidgey Hunts. Welcome back to another Monster Hunter Journal. This is the last of Season 1, a little bit of an epilogue as I dive back into some of the endgame content before we actually put Monster Hunter World properly behind us and we move forward into Iceborne. Now I know that I'm not doing this the same way a lot of you did between Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter Iceborne, because let's face it, you guys had a year to play it, to grind, to work your way up all of this stuff, fighting the arc-tempered beasts and the tempered beasts. And that was pretty much, I think, just to kill time until Iceborne came out. I have the luxury of playing Iceborne now, so I decided, let's go play the monster. Let's go fight the monsters I haven't fought yet. Let's just throw on the defender gear because I don't want to do 3 months of grinding, just so I can experience it and get to the good stuff, which is in Iceborne, because we also have Rise to play. We got some Monster Hunter catching up to do here. So I did a lot of the post-game stuff, which included a heck of a lot of crossover events. I knew that from playing on the multiplayer streams, I knew that there was some crossover materials, but tackling it all at once made me realize just how much crossover is. And I don't think I recall a game that's handled crossovers with so many different IPs to this level, not counting Smash Brothers, because that's an exception. So the first thing I did, if I recall correctly, is the Final Fantasy crossover. I really liked how they did it. I like that it's how it's kind of a multi-quest approach. You're going into the desert. There's what do you call them? Cactuars? Is it Cactuars? You follow the Cactuars, and there's actually a Final Fantasy crystal there. And then Kulu, we'll call him Kulu. He tries to steal the crystal, and the more he's running around, then there's the Chocobo song, and he just keeps growing. Like, all of this Final Fantasy was just punching in the nostalgia, and being in a Monster Hunter world, I'm just like, what is going on? There's like, the wires are crossing, the beams are crossing. Turns out Giant Kulu was harder than I thought. I kind of took him a little lightly, but the bigger he got, the more pain he dealt out. And I think I carded once on him, which was a little embarrassing. But in the end, we got him, and that brought out the Moogle. Now we have the Moogle in our world, which is just all sorts of weirdness to me. And of course, we got the Behemoth bot. I did my council pledge that I did, like, it wasn't a pledge, it was a bet. So I did a bet with the council. By the way, for those who don't know, it's time to talk about the council. So the council is this group of viewers who have assembled in Discord and have somehow assembled themselves and called themselves the council, and now they live to, I'm not sure if they live to help me or to troll me or a little bit of both, but either ways, they live in the dark corners of the HeyJ Discord. So anyways, they made a bet with me after doing a presentation as to why they would go to war with me or something. And I said, look, if I can slay Behemoth naked, I get ownership of the council, and we're going to name it the Classy Council. And this is at a time when I was kind of going through all the monsters and nothing felt too hard. I'm like, yeah, if I go naked, I just have to not get hit. I'm sure I can kill this thing by just dealing out enough damage. Little did I know about the fun that is Behemoth. So needless to say, that was painful to watch me cart 9 times in a row. And then finally, I'm like, all right, let's squat up. Let's get some armor. Let's kill the Behemoth. And this thing is just terrifying. It's big. It has one of the most epic intro scenes as it like crashes into the Elder's Recess, and it's crazy. The tornadoes it's doing, the attacks, the swipes. In multiplayer, it wasn't so bad because now you could have someone distract the face, smack it on the face, interrupt the tornadoes, and all you have to do is really watch out for its meteor attack, which wiped me out, I think, twice anyways. So it was still a hard fight, but we got it, and I got to see the armor. The armor is really awesome. It's a high level of bullshit. Like the whole fact that you can have Meteor. Now, I heard that before, it sounds like they patched this. It sounds like Meteor used to wipe you out wherever you were on the map, unless you were hiding behind a rock. There's one place I was like running, trying to catch up. I saw he was casting Meteor and I didn't have time to find a rock, so I just avoided the area and I didn't die. So that sounds like it's mercy compared to the beginning of this whole crossover. But either way, It was really cool to see some Final Fantasy in my Monster Hunter world. They did it really well. The music was executed well. The little like UI interface differences with the Behemoth fight, I assume it reflected Final Fantasy 14 from what I heard. Just done so well. So well. Let's go to the other completely like really good crossover event, which is the Witcher 3 crossover. Similar thing, but very different approach. I like how they had such a unique approach to the crossover. So with The Witcher 3, you have Geralt, who shows up and there's like this little creature and there's some mystery stuff going on in the woods and you have to go explore. And the fact that you can play as Geralt and you have like his fire attack, and I went in with just the base sword, so I learned it was a sword and shield mechanic. And then there's like quests everywhere. Now, I have not played Witcher 3, so I don't really have context for it. I saw the Witcher show on Netflix, loved it. But from the little bit that I saw, I'm just like, am I really gonna like Witcher 3? Because Geralt talks to himself a lot. There's a lot of narration, there's a lot of voiceover, and maybe I'm just not in an RPG mood these days, but I was just like, oh my god, this drags on for quite a while. But playing as Geralt himself felt really quick. I don't know if he was faster than the hunter, but he felt faster. I really like the fire attack, despite the range being short. And I like how there's this like little quest part where you can befriend a Puke, and then he later comes back. If you free him, he comes back to help you with the Leshen fight. The Leshen, super creepy thing. I was a little bit scared of it at first, but once I observe its pattern and I'm like, oh, is this all to it? There's just like a few patterns. It was pretty easy, and luckily the sword and shield, I'm somewhat comfortable enough to do some basic combos with it. So I managed to get through the Leshen with no carts. The hardest part for me of that fight was when he would summon the little Jagresses, because I'm so used to having my switch axe that can just like clear a mob in front of me. With the sword and shield, I had to be more precise in my positioning, and I just didn't have that natural positioning with like the small mobs, and they kept jumping on me and interrupting me, and the Leshen would throw his branches at me. I came really close to carting a few times, but in the end, I did it. Unfortunately, my Puke died in the battle, so I did not unlock the secret super item, which is, I don't know. We did not get all of the quests. I don't think I will do it again unless I'm really itching to complete this thing. I did unlock, now my hunter can use the fire spell, which is cool. I'm not going to use it. I heard it sucks. But just want to say, really well done in the crossover. Now we did a few crossover events with the multiplayer, so I really wanted Classy to be able to don his Mega Man suit. So we did the Mega Man event quest, which is you like kill a little Odo and then you kill a big Odo. It was super easy to do. The music though was awesome, and I heard that if you do that quest with different weapons, you get a different song that plays during the battle, which is just so cool. That's such cool features. After that, there's the Devil May Cry, so I want to see like the Devil May Cry outfit, so we did that. That too was kind of not that special. You just fought all the red beasts, but the outfit looked good. I think there was a special Devil May Cry music, but I haven't played that franchise, so I can't really speak much to it. And then we did some of these post-game creatures, including Lunastra. Oh, Lunastra. I thought I hated Teostra, but Lunastra is a whole different thing. So out of all of the Elder Dragons that I have fought, Teostra is my least favorite. First of all, he's in a fire pit. He does all this fire stuff. I just hate it. I was always on fire. I was always getting tripped. Now, when you fight the Lunastra, at least you go and fight the Teostra in the desert, so you remove that element of being in a volcanic atmosphere. That made the fight a lot more enjoyable to me. But then Lunastra, she not just has fire, but she has the wind that blows the fire, and she's fast, and she has a longer tail, and she is nasty. She's just nasty. She's so nasty, like Nigel's even like, I'm GTFO. Like, Nigel didn't even want to deal with her. I did not like this fight. It was really hard. I did not manage to do it solo. I did not have the patience to do it solo. So we brought in multiplayer, and as a multiplayer group, it was a lot more manageable. And then we killed it again for a few more things. So I finally got the Corporal Mantle, I think is what it's called, which has been pretty useful so far. But man, I do not like Lunastra. Like, it's just not fun. I just don't enjoy fighting that thing. So I don't want to fight it ever again. But I probably will have to in Iceborne, I think. Then I did want to try a tempered monster, and we decided at this point I was doing multiplayer, and I unlocked the double B-52 bomber quest with Basil Goose, and they were both tempered or arc tempered. I'm not sure what the proper terminology is. Probably tempered. So I'm like, all right, let's try a tempered monster. As a group, they really didn't offer much of a challenge. We managed to fight them separately for the most part. They didn't get to team up too often, and it didn't really feel like a harder fight. Keep in mind, there was 3 other people helping me, 3 other experienced hunters, but it didn't even feel like there was more health. Oh, when you have 2 in a map, I learned that their health is lowered, so maybe that was why. But yeah, it wasn't anything nothing that I'd be too crazy about. Now, I recognize there's a lot of challenge to this game that I'm skipping out on, the tempered and the arc tempered monsters. I could definitely go for them, but I feel it would be more of a frustrating kind of challenge than a fun challenge for my playstyle. It would be the same fights I've done with more HP, a little bit more aggression, and some new moves. And for some of those, I don't want to do that right now. So I'd rather jump into Iceborne and experience all the new stuff there. And Iceborne, I'm going to take my time with, because, with Monster Hunter World, I knew that at the end, I would skip to Iceborne. I would jump over to Iceborne. Now with Iceborne ahead of me, I'm not looking to jump into anything because I'm doing Iceborne and Rise at the same time. So I don't feel a rush to get to anything. And also Monster Hunter World, I'd only pledged to get to the credits. Now with Iceborne, I said I will fight everything. It's a whole different pledge. And I'm also if this takes me a year, I'm cool with that. I'm just taking my time. I'm enjoying it. I've already started my season 2, my Iceborne journey before filming this. And I can't wait to share with you my impressions of Iceborne, because, oh boy, what a fun first stream that was. Now I want to take a moment to really process this whole journey, and I'm going to try to keep it short. The last 10 weeks of Monster Hunter World has been an incredible journey, and I can't imagine. I'm so happy I did this, and I'm so happy you guys came along, because this has been such a fun journey. I went into this with that expectation of I was not going to like this game, and it was going to be a grind to get through. And it turns out it turned into this great experience, this great story arc with really high moments when it came to either the memes, fighting Anjanath for the first time, dying to Anjanath for the first time. That was a highlight. The whole Diablos arc was cool, and just kind of hitting those key beats of the monsters. The first time I came into hit up the B-52, Devil Joe, the Elder Dragons, Nigel, all these things where it feels like it was such a journey. And in the end, after all of that, I did want to share the last statistics from season 1. So when it comes to monsters slayed, assuming I was keeping track of counts right, 63 monsters slayed throughout this season and 29 monsters captured. Now that seems like a low number. That's about 100, close to just under 100 monsters, just under 100 monsters hunted in total. And I think I played for 50 to 60 hours. So whatever that works out to for monsters per hour. In terms of failed quests, I was really expecting this counter to be higher. We ended up with 6 failed quests. Diablos being one of them, and I think some of the events are the ones that bumped that number up. Forgot to eat was only 8. I didn't know what eating was in Monster Hunter when I put that counter up. All these counters were recommended to me by the audience. I'm glad I did not forget to eat that much. And honestly, I don't see myself forgetting to eat that much. I'm surprised that number actually ended up being that. Faints, 46. That number shot up so much towards the end game. There's so many BS quests that really launched that up there, like freaking Behemoth. That's a number that's in line with what I expected going into this, but I didn't realize it was going to be so impacted by the end game stuff. I thought I was going to faint a little bit more in the earlier parts. And then when we started this season, we started with the Handler Cringe, which was a recommendation from the community. And turns out the Handler is not cringy. Handler is not cringy. Meowscular Chef is more cringy than the Handler. And above all of that, standing at the top of Mount Cringe is me. So we had to change the counter to Hey J Cringe. And we ended up with about 11 Hey J Cringes since I implemented that counter, which was halfway through the season. Now it's going to go way higher than that in Iceborne. 11 are some rookie numbers. I'm going to be tossing that up. But that's where we are. We're going to be resetting the counter for season 2. So let's see how that's going to compare when we finish those up. I think all of the numbers are going to be much, much higher. So I'll see you on the first journal in season 2 of Iceborne. And until then, keep it classy. Thank you so much for watching this first series of journals along with me. And don't forget, like the video, subscribe, and we're going to keep doing these Monster Hunter journeys. Take care.